They called him a curse, a boy born under a blood moon, delivered without a cry, and whose mother died before she could name him. In the dusty village of Obiuno, nestled between two ridges and surrounded by dense groves where ancestral spirits were said to whisper, the villagers believed everything had a reason. Misfortune was never random. And so when goats miscarried, when rain refused to fall, when children choked on yams or wells dried up, they blamed Nkemakolam. His name meant, may my portion never be lost. But in a twist of fate, Nkem had no portion at all. His father, Onwachekwa, was a palm wine tapper who fell from a tree the week Nkem was born. His mother, Ndidi Amaka, bled out in the bush where she had gone to labor alone. Because the village midwife refused to help her, she had been accused of harboring an evil spirit after a snake was found under her cooking stone. And so, Nkem entered the world in solitude. And in solitude, he was raised. The villagers didn't so much care for him as they tolerated him. He slept in a mud hut once used as a goat shed. He fetched water for the market women and carried firewood to the elders' wives. He was never paid in coins, only in leftovers, half-eaten plantain, stale mwamwa, or goat skin too tough to chew. But he never complained. Not once. He watched boys his age play Ao under the mango tree while he swept the dust they kicked up. He watched girls braid each other's hair and laugh behind calabashes while he boiled bitter herbs for his cough. When he turned 15, he built a shrine with his hands, not to any known god, but to his unknown ancestors. He carved a mask from Irako wood, planted it beneath the old Udala tree, and whispered to it every night. If you are there, if you remember me, help me become something more than dust. The villagers began to fear him even more after that. He speaks to trees, they said. He sings to the moon, they whispered. But still, he swept their compounds and fetched their water. Then came the festival of ancestral light. Every 5 years, Obiuno held a sacred rite, a ceremony to call upon the ancestors for protection and prosperity. Fires were lit, drums beat without ceasing, and the youngest daughter of the Ease danced before the village in a white wrapper to signify purity. But that year, the festival did not go as planned. At the peak of the ritual, the sky darkened. The wind howled. The fire pots exploded, and the carved mask under the idolatry began to glow. A strange green light pulsed from the earth, and the people ran in terror. Only Nkem stood still, staring at the mask as if something in it called his soul by name. The chief priest, Dibia Okonkwo, declared the boy unclean. He has awakened something buried. He must be cast out. And so, at 18, Nkem was dragged to the edge of the village. Beaten, marked with ash, given a bag of roasted cassava and 1 cowrie. As he turned to walk away, barefoot and bleeding, he looked back once. I am not a curse, he said. I am the consequence. Then he vanished into the forest. Days turned to weeks. Weeks turned to moons. No one heard from Nkemakolam again. But the village did not heal. Crops failed. Water dried. The Ease's only son fell ill. And the idolatry that had shaded generations split down the middle by lightning on a night without clouds. Meanwhile, Nkem wandered. He walked for days through forest and swamp, across hills where vultures circled, until he reached the roaring city of Lagos. But that is a tale for another night. The city of Lagos, chaotic, merciless, teeming with life. Here, dreams are born and buried in the same breath. Nkem arrived in Lagos with nothing but calloused feet, a half-eaten cassava root, and a name no one knew. He slept beneath bridges. He washed himself in gutters. He fought with vultures over leftovers behind buka stalls. The city didn't welcome him. It tolerated him, just like the village had. But Nkem was not the boy he once was. He had walked through fire. He had spoken with trees. And deep within him, the glow of that ancestral mask still flickered, waiting. One morning, as dawn broke over the Oberlin slums, Nkem found work as a market cleaner. He swept stalls long after the traders had gone. He spoke to no one, but he watched everything. And then, the visions began. They came in his sleep at first, a masked figure standing at the foot of his cardboard bed, whispering in a voice older than time. You are not meant to sweep dirt. You are meant to sweep destiny. By day, he pushed brooms. By night, he dreamed of fire, gold, and blood. The city began to shift. He noticed numbers where others saw noise. He saw patterns in the chaos, how certain buyers always came on certain days, how prices rose with the tides, how men gambled not with luck, but with habit. Then came the stranger, an old man with one blind eye, dressed in a white agbada too clean for the slums. He appeared one evening as Nkem swept sand off the path behind Balagan Market. Boy, the man said, why do you clean the ground when your eyes see the sky? Nkem looked up. Because the sky won't feed me. The man smiled, revealing teeth stained red with cola. You were not sent here to beg. You were sent to rebuild what your people broke. He handed Nkem a cowrie, old, cracked, but warm to the touch. When the time comes, cast this into the fire. It will remember you. Then he walked into traffic and disappeared. That night, Nkem had a vision so vivid it made him scream. He stood in the middle of a glass skyscraper, floors beneath him collapsing into ash, while tribal drums beat like thunder. At the top of the building was the same glowing mask he had buried under the Udala tree. Behind it, a golden throne. He awoke with a name on his lips, Ugachukwu Investments. He didn't know what it meant, but he wrote it on the inside of his shirt with charcoal. The next day, he took the only coins he had and bought a tray of planets. He walked through traffic, selling them one by one, smiling, greeting, blessing every buyer. By the end of the week, he had doubled his money. By the end of the month, he had 10 trays and 3 boys working under him. By the end of the year, he had rented a stall and was moving goods from Onitsha to Lagos in hired vans. Still, the dreams continued. Still, the mask called to him. One night, he stood on the shores of Elagushi Beach and threw the old cowrie into the waves. The wind shifted. The tide receded. And in the sand, he saw it, a symbol burned into the earth, the same mark from the mask now on his palm. Within 2 years, Nkem had become a name whispered in import circles. His company, Ugachukwu Holdings, was a mystery. No formal address, no public records. But it was everywhere. Cement, steel, textiles, logistics. People said the boy had juju, that he walked with spirits. And maybe they were right. Because every time Nkem signed a deal, every time he blessed a new warehouse or market hub, he felt the ancestors behind him. Not as whispers, not as fear, but as power. The very thing the village had feared had become his gift. And Lagos, chaotic, ruthless Lagos, had crowned him not in blood, but in profit. But he never smiled in photos. And he never forgot the mask. 10 years. It had been 10 years since Nkemakolam was banished from Obiuno. 10 years since he had walked barefoot across red soil with a cowrie in his pocket and rejection in his bones. But today he did not walk. He arrived with the rumble of black jeeps, the echo of tires on broken village roads, and the slow gasp of an entire people frozen in disbelief. Children ran barefoot after the convoy. Women peeked behind worn wrappers. And the elders, who had once thrown stones, clutched their walking sticks as if they might be swallowed by the earth. Nkem stepped out in silence. He wore white agbada with gold embroidery and coral beads thick around his neck. His shoes were snakeskin. His face was still, but his eyes glowed like coals fed by ancestral wind. Behind him, 4 men in suits carried an object wrapped in black cloth. At the foot of the Udala tree, the one struck by lightning 10 years ago, they placed it down. Then Nkem pulled the cloth away. The mask, the very one the village had feared. It had returned. Gasps rippled. The ease stumbled out of his compound, held up by his sons. His voice trembled. Who are you? Nkem smiled faintly. I am the one you called a curse. The one your priest banished. The one your people forgot. He turned slowly. And yet, I am the one your ancestors remembered. He raised the mask. A breeze blew through the village, hot and sharp like desert wind. The earth groaned. And then, the shrine, long abandoned and choked by weeds, ignited in green fire. The villagers fell to their knees. Some wept, some chanted, some begged forgiveness. But Nkem did not come to punish. He came to heal. Over the next hours, gifts poured from the jeeps. Bags of rice, pallets of medicines, books for children, tools for farmers. A contract to rebuild every home, every well, every school. And finally, he summoned the elders. Build a new shrine, he said. One that welcomes, not one that condemns. He lifted the mask once more. This is not evil. This is memory. That night, they danced. Old women ululated. Drums returned to the village square. Children were given names. And the mask was placed on a throne of stone, surrounded by candles and carvings. Nkem did not stay. He returned to the city the next day, not because he wasn't welcome, but because he understood now. He belonged to many villages, to every rejected child, to every curse mistaken for destiny. In Obiuno, they now say, the gods do not forget their own. They only test the patience of our eyes. And under the new Udala tree, where the mask now rests, children are told of a boy with ash on his face, who became a king without a crown. Do not look down on anyone because of his current situation. Always remember the future is heavily pregnant yet unknown. Thanks for watching, and don't to like and share this video with your loved ones. And most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more amazing contents like this. See you in the next one. Goodbye.